Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel, and it's a very special day because it's not every day that 67 Hail Hail gets to speak to a Celtic legend, but that is exactly what happened earlier today as we were given the opportunity to attend Scott Brown's final ever press conference as a Celtic player. We were there as Celtic fan media along with several other Celtic fan media outlets, and it was a really enjoyable afternoon. I got to ask Scott Brown a question for which we'll hear in just a wee minute. We'll also then hear from Jackie McNamara, another former captain, later on in the video. We'll hear from Scott in a wee second. Before we do that, we just wanted to outline why we attended today's press conference. You may or may not be aware there was a bit of noise on social media earlier today about a few outlets deciding not to turn up to today's press conference, chiefly the Cynic. Absolutely respect their decision, fair enough. We just felt that it was important that we did go to today's press conference for three main reasons. The first one was that we feel that a relationship between Celtic and Celtic fan media has to be built, and we feel it can only be built by participation and us getting involved, and we applaud the club for the opportunity to attend today's press conference. We hope that there's more of that to follow. Secondly, we want to bring you as good content as we can on the channel, and having Scott Brown speaking to 67 Hail Hail is about as good as content gets. And thirdly, there are no restrictions to our content at all, and attending Celtic press conferences doesn't mean that our content will be restricted going forward. If we felt that we could only ask certain questions at Celtic press conferences, we wouldn't go. And if we felt that Celtic weren't allowing us to be critical in these kind of videos, we wouldn't go to press conferences. It's as simple as that. But we applaud Celtic for the opportunity, hopefully more of it to come. And yeah, here you go. Scott Brown speaking first. You'll hear my question, you hear Scott Brown after it, and then we'll hear from Jackie McNamara, and you might even hear from Scott Brown again. Hi Scott, it's Hamish from 67 Hail Hail. Again, I just want to put forward my thanks on behalf of 67 Hail Hail and personally as well. You've given me some amazing memories that I'll never forget. In terms of your time at the club, 14 years you've been at the club, mainly highs, some lows as well. I'm just wondering what lessons and advice you would have for your successor as Celtic captain.
It's a hard one, to be fair. I think you've got to deal with the lows very well. You've always got to believe in your teammates as well. You know, the one good thing about Celtic is there's a game every 3 or 4 days. So it's that bounce back mentality that we've got. And as long as everybody's together, you've got to believe in each other. You've got the willingness to run through walls for each other, and all, as I said before, you've got to be touch tight together as a team. We've won 9 trophies in a row, and it was incredible because we worked so hard together, and that was individually and collectively as well. So I think it's those things that you've got to try and bring everybody together, which we've got people in that dressing room that want to be a huge part of this club and that want to push the club forward, and that's what you want. You want people to stay at this club for a long time and understand what a great club it is, because, as I say, I've had the opportunities to move before, but I never wanted to leave because the fans, the stadium, and to be around the teammates as well and the managers that I've had and that I've learned underneath has been exceptional.
Jackie, Callum McGregor, will he be the next Celtic captain for you?
Yeah, I think he's more than capable. I don't think it'd be right to sort of compare him as being the same as Scott. I think they're different types, different players. But I think I think he's more than capable of leading the team and driving the team forward. He's definitely got the ability and that kind of desire. You know, he has done it a number of times and pulled the team out. Which I think you will need a few others to step up this season. You know, with Scott leaving, I think you look for more leaders in the team rather than just 1 or 2 people. But Callum's definitely capable of being the captain, yeah.
He's definitely capable, Ewan, and he's definitely the one who's been geared up to be the captain for the last couple of years. It's just clear to see anyone, who supports Celtic can see what the club's doing. But just for the record, are there any other contenders in that current first team squad for you? Two that I kind of noted out were the two Chris's, Chris Julian and Chris Ayer.
I definitely think Julien has a very, very good shot at being at least the vice captain next season. I think he just gets it. I mean, obviously, I'm for Callum McGregor being a captain as well, but I think in terms of a backup, Julien's really as good as gets. And people say there's a lack of leadership beyond Scott Brown and Callum McGregor, but I do think, when you see Julien playing for Celtic, you can see how much it means to him. He has a really good relationship with the supporters. He seems to drive everyone forward in the same way that you'd want from a captain. He's emotive. I mean, Callum McGregor gets criticised for not being as outwardly emotive as maybe Scott Brown. I think Julien could be maybe what Lustig was to Broony in years prior. As for Chris Ayer, I would love that, but I think he's probably going to be moving on. I think if he were to stay, definitely he's captain material in the future. It's going to be Callum McIntyre, Chris Julian, I would say.
Jackie, is there something we could be missing here in that a new manager is going to come into the club? Hopefully it's going to be Eddie Howe. Is there a chance he could bring in his own man? Someone like maybe Steve Cook, who he's worked with in the past at Bournemouth as the new captain, and McGregor could just be kind of bypassed?
I'd be surprised. I think even if he brought somebody in like that, he'd maybe have that as him as a vice captain. Go with somebody that knows the club and it can help the new manager come in. Like Scott did with Brendan coming in, kind of rejuvenated Scott Brown at that time. When people thought he was kind of coming to the end of his career at Celtic when Ronnie was leaving, and I think Brendan kind of got the best out of him again, and get him that new lease of life. So that might be the case where if it is Eddie Howe or the new manager coming in, even if they do bring in people that they know and they trust, but they might use like some McGregor to have that communication with the rest of the players and show them what it's all about.
I think it's a fair point. Did Martin O'Neill have someone he kind of confided in when he came to the club?
Martin, when he first came in, it was Tom Boyd still. Then it was Lambo, was captain. Then it was myself. That was the three in Martin's 5 years at the club. So, but in fairness, I said a number of times we had a lot of players in the team that were captain.
Oh yeah.
Henrik and Johan and right the way through Lenny.
It's crazy looking at that team, the entire team. Like even folk like Valharin and Varga and Baldi could all have been captains.
Yeah, so I mean there was a good number of boys. I mean they're strong, and I think that's what Martin was very good at, identifying real strong characters to come in, and handle it. Handle everything that came with it. It was a real strong squad. Strong guys.
So what makes Callum McGregor a good Celtic captain then, Jackie? And what do you need to be a good Celtic captain? You obviously have been one in a previous life.
I think just said it's been himself. He knows the values of the club. He knows the fans. He speaks well, conducts himself well, and he comes across. He knows the importance of winning. And I think that's came across quite a number of times. He's been very honest. His assessments of some of the performances this season, and it's been quite tough to stand out there and talk about the match after it. And I think he's done it quite well and been very honest about it, about them falling short and not hitting the standards that they'd set previous. So he knows what's required. He knows the levels that you need to get to. And I think as I said, he leads by examples, and I think he brings other people forward with that and how he plays. For me, I know he's been playing further back, but I prefer him further forward. I just think he's got too much football. The amount of times this season when you actually want Callum to pass the ball to Callum further forward, and find the little pockets and turn a wee bit like at times that Tumble does. But I just think he's got that extra bit of speed. I know he's deceiving. He get away from people and he always thinks something's going to happen. There's either a goal or there's a great opportunity to score when he gets in that last third. And I sometimes think he's kind of wasted further back.
I'm maybe about to sound like a football dinosaur here. Can a captain be an attacker? a captain have to be a defender? Thoughts on that, guys?
Well, you see, a captain that's been a goalkeeper. You see, goalkeepers. I would never a goalkeeper as a captain, but you do see it. I don't see why not. Why they couldn't take the armband, especially for the part when they're leading by example, scoring goals. Absolutely.
Ewan, if you get any concerns over Callum McGregor, this is your time to air them.
Not hugely, no. I think he proved himself. I think the vital game for him in terms of the captaincy was the win against Lille. He made that mistake that led to, I think it was their first goal. And immediately, after kickoff, obviously not directly immediately, but like shortly after, he drives Celtic forward and scores a penalty, and we're right back in that game. And I think just that was the real kind of first, maybe not the first time, but definitely the most significant time we saw him really fired up and willing to sort of drag the team along to his standards. Taking responsibility for a mistake is as important as celebrating when something's gone right. So no huge concerns. No, I think he's just going to be, because we're so used to Scott Brown, he's going to be a very, very different type of captain, and I think that's going to take adjustment. He's not a shouter or a baller necessarily, but I think he might be the kind of lead by example captain that we've seen some great deal of success in the past. I see him more as maybe, obviously I don't have the insight Jackie has, but I would see him more as a Tom Boyd sort of figure. Maybe the sort of quieter type in terms of his public persona and that kind of thing, but definitely a large presence in the dressing room, someone who's been there and seen it all and has really important wisdom to pass on. I see him as a really good example for new signings as well, someone who could integrate people into the squad really easily. He just has that sort of persona as far as I can tell. So again, Jack will know this better than me, but I definitely see him as a Tom Boyd type.
I'm not massively concerned about McGregor as a captain. I'm more concerned about McGregor as a footballer, and the fact that this season he's been absolutely, it's probably harsh to say he's been terrible all season. He's not, but he's certainly not hit the heights that we know he can. And part of that is just McGregor was, Mr. Consistent for about 3 or 4 seasons, 7 out of 10 every single week, and this season he's not been. I'm more concerned about him, being a good player under a new manager. I just hope that being captain on top of that and having all that extra responsibility doesn't almost deflect from the fact that he has to start performing on the pitch. I doubt it will, because I think he's quite a switched on guy in interviews, and I think he quite likes the pressure of playing for Celtic, and I think he quite likes the pressure of captaining Celtic. But I really, we need him to be a big player for us next season. Just finishing the video chatting about Scott Brown, the guy who I spoke to at the start of the video. Jackie, you've spoken about him already. This is probably the, putting the curtain down on Scott Brown's Celtic career in terms of 67 hail. Just an amazing player for the club, and a player that will be remembered for years and years to come.
Yeah, I think he's been a great signing, first and foremost. I think coming from Hibs, I think he's matured so much and grown into the role, I can't speak high enough of him. I think he's been great, and I hope to see him back one day. He's going to be now to keep playing, which I would advise him to do, because I would advise him to keep playing as long as he feels he can, and because you're a long time not playing, you can do the coaching and management later on when he feels he's had enough for the playing. So hopefully one day he'll come back in the management team at Celtic. I'd like to see that.
You managed against him. I dare say you played against him years and years ago. Apologies for making you feel old there.
That was well harsh.
I know. Any Scott Brown stories, Jackie? Any kind of visions of your players coming?
There's a few. Obviously, there's one of the games he thought I was trying to do him, take him out one of the matches against Hibs. But it was a game, because he was quite a chirpy young lad at Hibs. He was going around, saying a few as he was going to, because we were playing Barcelona midweek. And there was a couple of games he was a wee bit tasty at Easter Road, and I think Bobo got sent off with him, and everything else. But he was going around laying it on, put the boot in and he'd leave it in there and stuff, and run about saying he was going to kind of do some folk. And So there was a queue of us waiting there. So I'll get him. It was, I think Alan Thompson was the one that got him, and he got a bad injury and came off. But it was we were senior players at the time, and we didn't obviously take kindly a young lad running about telling us what he was going to do to us to keep us out of the Barcelona game. But I always liked him. He had that little bit of callousness when he was younger, and I think he's matured a lot getting into Celtic and understands the club, and I think he's been a great servant.
Did you think at that stage when he was being that chirpy wee guy, this is a guy who could play for a top club, or were you just thinking this is just a wee annoying Ned?
Yeah, did I? Yeah, you had players, throughout my career, you had players there that would annoy you on the pitch. And as a young lad, he was that, and that with a number of other ones. Darren Jackson, before he came to Celtic, he was at Hibs, was very annoying. He ended up being a good friend, but when he was at Hibs, it was just like, I smash you, take him out. But that's sometimes you get that when you're up against people. They can irritate you on the pitch, the way they go about things, and when you don't actually know them until you actually work with them and you get to like them.
Just realised I've just called Scott Brown a Ned on the Celtic YouTube channel. That won't go down well. Hopefully he's not watching. Ewan, if he is watching, he's got a chance to hear you chatting about him. Just finish the video. What's your thoughts on Scott Brown? What does he mean to you?
When you hear all the idiots kind of trying to downplay his achievements, trying to convince us he's not a Celtic legend, that he's not the player we think he is utter nonsense. What he's achieved at Celtic has been astronomical, especially in the modern era. To go 9 in a row is absolutely incredible, and to be at the focal point of so many important Celtic moments. He just an absolutely fantastic player who revolutionised his own game about maybe 3 times when he was at Celtic, and that's hard to do once, but to do it as many times as he did, just an absolutely outstanding footballer, and just exactly the kind of leader, exactly the kind of leader that we needed to take us through all those amazing moments. So yeah, we owe a debt of gratitude to him. And any talk of him not being a Celtic legend is completely misguided.
No, he's 100% a Celtic legend, what he's achieved at the club, and I think he would be remembered so fondly in years to come. As will this video, I'm sure, with our wonderful listeners. Thanks, guys, for joining me. Thanks, everyone, for watching this. Remember, if you haven't yet subscribed to the channel, now is your time to do it. It would be really appreciated. Like the video, tell a pal about us, and we'll speak to you soon.
I'd just like to thank you all very much for your support over the years, and I know this season was hard, but you've got to remember the good times. We've had 9 fantastic seasons. We've had quadruple trebles, and there's not a lot of teams that are going to do that in their history. And I think you've got to make sure that you stick by these lads that are coming through, and you've given them the opportunity, and you support them through thick and thin, like you have done with myself and the lads that have been here before. And that's what Celtic do. We stick by each other, and we come back. We always win trophies, and they always will do. And at the end of the day, I'm going to be extremely sad that I'm leaving, but I'm also going to be very emotional when I come back as well, to see the fans at Celtic Park. And I know it's going to be an Aberdeen strip, and it's going to be something different, but no, it's going to be a special occasion coming back into Celtic Park and seeing yous all again. And here's hoping I get to 90 minutes as well, and I can wave to yous and say bye at the end of the day, because it's been sad that I couldn't say bye to yous all.